Let's talk about NFL first-round draft picks and blue bloods and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. I want to talk about first round draft picks and blue bloods because one of the things that I have noticed is the teams that are winning national championships are the teams that are putting first round picks into the league on a very consistent basis. And when we think about blue bloods, we're really thinking about programs that have been along and been around for a very long time. And the reason I think many people don't want to include, say, Texas in there is because you got to take it all the way back to Dana Bible before they were good. And that doesn't really include the 19th century, but I think that's a little bit disingenuous based on how we view football post-World War II. And there might be enough time that has gone by, say 70 years, where we can really redefine what a blue blood is. So if you were playing football well right around World War II, I'm inclined to include you. If you're playing football well just after World War II, I'm inclined to include you. But I am not inclined to include Clemson. Clemson was not really any good until the 70s into the 80s and really hadn't been much of anybody until Dabo Swinney took over the program. They have since won 2 national championships since 2016 alone. And more than that, they have seen a first-round draft pick in 7 out of the last 8 years. And you can even take it back further if you wanted to. And you look at some of the guys that they put into the league. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. And you look at some of the guys that they are putting into the league. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. And you begin to see why they are so good year in and year out. We make this argument that Clemson plays in a watered-down ACC. And then they go and beat up on Alabama 44-16 so badly that there were many people that were asking whether or not Nick Saban should hang it up. Nick Saban responds in kind 2 years later, running the table 13-0 with one of the most decisive national championships that we have seen in quite some time, beating everybody but one team by 2 scores. While it's not the greatest football team of all time, Alabama's 2020 team is an all-timer for the way that they were able to lord over the rest of that 2020 field. Now, I also take a look at this from the standpoint of, say, Texas not having won a national championship since 2005 and not having played in anything like a national semifinal or national final since 2009. Closest they get is beating Georgia in a Sugar Bowl that everybody from the state of Georgia swears up and down that they never wanted to play in. And yet, and still, you take a look at what they have done in recent years in the NFL draft, you got to go take it back to 2015 for the last time they had a first-round pick, Malcolm Brown, to the New England Patriots. Check me on that. And then you take a look at, say, Nebraska. Nebraska has not won a national championship since 1997 and has not been relevant since about 2009 when Ndamukong Suh was lording over the conference. Interesting fact about Texas and Nebraska there. Joseph Asai had a game where he had at least 12 tackles, 6.5 for loss, and 4.5 sacks, right? The last player to do that with 12, 6, and 3 was Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska. And Asai is one of 2 players that you really are pinning your hopes and dreams on if you're a Texas fan to end this trend of years without, or streak, without a first-round draft pick, right? And you could throw Sam Cowsme in there, especially after how he performed at Pro Day, 6'7", 309. The man ran 4.84 in the 40-yard dash. That's flying, dude. That's nasty. Now, there's the caveat that it was run on a home track. It wasn't run at Lucas Oil Stadium, but we're in a COVID year, so whatever. And then you keep taking it back, right? Like, I include Minnesota as a blue blood. They're pretty damn good around World War II. But the last time they had a first-round pick, Lawrence Maroney, in 2006. That's the year I graduated high school. Now, Rashad Bateman gives them a chance, but I don't expect Rashad Bateman to be one of the first guys off the board as a wide receiver because this is a very deep draft for wide receivers. He's a second, third-round dude, just like Rondale Moore at Purdue, for instance, right? You take it even further, like Georgia Tech, who I include as a blue blood because they've been around for a very long time, right? Hasn't had a first-round pick since 2010. Nebraska hasn't had a first-round pick since 2011 while we're over there, and that was Prince Amukamara, right, who was so-so in the league, but certainly not the kind of guy that you think of as being a first-round pick. And I can keep going here, right? Pitt is a team that I would include as blue blood. They haven't had one since Aaron Donald in 2014. And when I look across the country and I see who is putting those guys into the league, Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama, LSU, Georgia. We can keep going there. You can understand how those teams are the ones that we're always talking about come late November, early December. And does that change if we expand the playoff? I don't know. I can't really answer that question right off the top, but I do know that somebody is going to take advantage of that expanded field, whether it be a Boise State or Central Florida, who probably is the best bet to do it because they have the largest student body in the country, and they really want to be good at football, and they're just aching for the chance to prove it, kind of like Cincinnati and Ohio, where Ohio is a football-rich state. We understand what Ohio State is, right? But when I look at Clemson and I compare them to Texas, to Tennessee, to Nebraska, to those blue bloods that I mentioned, you don't have an excuse for why you're not good if you're a blue blood. To be a blue blood is, one, to have that tradition in your back pocket and to be well-resourced. It's the reason why with Nebraska, we're going hard at them because that's what y'all do. Y'all play football. That's it. There is nothing else to do up there. And you wanted Scott Frost. You got Scott Frost, and you haven't got any returns for it. I don't know when the clock is going to run out on him, but you went through Bo Pelini and Mike Riley to get Scott Frost, who proved he could win at Central Florida, but apparently can't do it in the Big Ten in Nebraska. I was looking at another graph the other day, and it was showing Big Ten teams without Big Ten championships, and Nebraska's on a list with Rutgers. Yo, man, Rutgers, for the sake of this argument, is a blue blood because they literally played in the first college football game ever versus Princeton. But you get the point there. Rutgers has been sorry forever. The only way you could put them into the blue blood conversation is because of the length of time they've had a college football program. But I don't think they've won double-digit bowls over the course of 125, 150 years. It's really wild to think about. But that's where Nebraska has fallen. And if Texas doesn't get its stuff together, it could fall just as far. Deuces.